Welcome to the Living a Nordic Life podcast, where we explore a simpler, cosier and more intentional life the Nordic way. I'm Fiona McKenna, your Nordic living guide and founder of Living a Nordic Life, where I share all things Nordic living and show you that a Nordic life is the way to bring intentional calm and healthy habits into your own life, wherever you are in the world. Are you looking for ways to bring simplicity, coziness and calm into your life? Well, let me show you how. Visit the Living a Nordic Life website to explore how I can help you on your journey to simple, healthy and happy calm, the Nordic way. You can subscribe to the podcast right here. And if you want regular inspirational emails sent with love from Norway and straight to your inbox, don't forget to subscribe to the Living a Nordic Life newsletters. And so now let's dive into our episode. Hello and welcome to this episode, and I want to talk to you today about bringing a little piece of Scandinavia into your home. Specifically, 7 ways to experience Scandinavia at home. Now you might be imagining strolling through the streets of Oslo, feeling the sand on your feet on a deserted Danish beach. Yes, they really are. Or enjoying a cold beer while watching the world go by on the Brygge in Bergen. And that may not be an option right now. It might be in your future, or it might have been, but it might not be right now. But you know what? We can still bring a little piece of Scandinavia to us, wherever we are in the world. We don't have to be on holiday. We don't have to live here in the Nordics. We can bring it to us if we choose to. So I have got some suggestions for you, 7 suggestions, to bring Scandinavia to you and your home in a few simple and gentle ways that you can do right now, today. Number 1, pick some wild flowers and bring them inside. Summer in Scandinavia sees wildflowers everywhere, absolutely everywhere. The roadside verges are covered and meadows and woodlands burst into flower. Our roadside verges are not mowed very often, a couple of times a year, maybe a little bit more. And they literally are just an absolute abundance of flowers all through the spring and summer. They're beautiful. And the woodlands as well. They start with the little tiny white wood anemones, which people pick a lot of. They don't last very long inside, but there are so many of them, they're weeds here, that you can happily pick them. And it's perfectly normal to pick a few wildflowers and bring them in, to bring a little bit of nature into your home. That's a very Scandinavian thing. You need to always check that you're not picking anything that's rare or endangered, and don't pull it up. But if it's something that's very common, pick it. And even the most common, everyday things like daisies can look absolutely beautiful. And everybody here does it. From tiny little kids at kindergarten picking, a few dandelions on the way home, to old ladies going out to pick oxeye daisies at the side of the road, because they just grow in abundance here and they're beautiful inside. And why would you not want to do that? Bring some Scandinavia into your home. Number 2, enjoy a Nordic breakfast. Everyday Scandinavian breakfasts are really simple and healthy. There's nothing like cereal. We can buy cereal here, but it's not something that's eaten very commonplace. Maybe in the winter you might have some porridge. Again, very simple. But things like toast and jam and, like I said, cereal, really Pop-Tarts, that kind of thing, you just don't find. It tends to be knäckebröd, which is crisp bread, or a slice of nice wholemeal bread. And that is the staple of most Scandinavian breakfasts. It will not be a lot of white bread necessarily, although people do eat white bread here, but people really like things that are packed full of different types of flour and wholemeal and seeds. They're very popular. If you top this with a choice of some cold cuts or smoked fish like salmon, or a few slices of hard-boiled egg if you want, and a few slices of cucumber or tomato, something a little bit healthy just to freshen it up, and you've got yourself a great Scandinavian breakfast. And a coffee is a must. You don't start the day without a coffee here. And that takes me on to number 3, which is drink black coffee. I don't think I could ever do that. There's more coffee drunk in Scandinavia than anywhere else, and Scandinavians do, on the whole, like to drink it black. If you go into a restaurant or into a cafe or to get yourself a takeaway coffee, you have to specifically ask for milk, and you have to ask for quite a lot of milk as well, because you'll get those little things of creamer. But if you just ask for a coffee, you will be given a plain black coffee. And it's not a very strong coffee. It's not like an Italian espresso, tiny little, very strong coffee. But it is black nonetheless, and plenty of it is drunk throughout the day. It might start first thing in the morning, but it carries on right until dinner. And quite a lot of coffee is drunk, I have to say. If you want to take it to the next level and be even more Scandinavian, you'll have your coffee mid-morning. You'll sit down for a few minutes. It's important to stop and have just a few minutes of quiet peace. You'll have a slice of cake or something savoury with a friend, and you have yourself a Swedish fika. My next one is light a candle. And candles are a natural part of Scandinavian decor in the dark months. And I know a lot of people always think of candles when they think of Scandinavia. Candles, fluffy socks and blankets, I think. But it's true. They are sold in every shop, and you'll find them in every home. Even the shops, like food shops, supermarkets, you'll see candles outside in the winter. It's very welcoming, I have to say, and it gives you that lovely cosy feeling. And they are real candles with a flame and a proper fire, not some kind of pretend thing. A big candle in a metal, like a metal dish almost. It's disposable. But they're specifically for burning outside, and they're very welcoming. But candles on the whole in Scandinavia come in every colour and size. But they're usually just a simple straight candle. Fancy candles or scented candles are not terribly popular. We can buy them, but it's the plain candles in different colours, but it's the plain candles without a scent that are the most popular. To bring a little Scandinavia into your home, you should light a few candles on your windowsill. It's really traditional. And then you leave your curtains or your blind open, and anybody who's passing in the winter can see that light, and it's very welcoming. And it shines a beautiful light outside too. And then if you've got 5 minutes, go outside and have a quick look and see what it looks like, and then that will give you a really nice feeling. Or put them on your doorstep. Put them on your doorstep. If you can put them without anything on a saucer or something, then that's great. But if you have those metal candle holders with the glass, like a lantern, put them on there in those. That's really Scandinavian. And again, it's a beautiful welcome if you've got people coming round, or for yourself if you have to go out for a few minutes. Scandify your decor. Scandinavian decor colours are pretty much always muted greys, blues, greens and natural colours. Things that you think of as being part of nature. So you think of trees and moss and the forest and the sky and possibly the beach. Those kind of colours. You think about that when you think about the houses too. There's much less light here in the winter. In fact, there's very little light in some places. And so colours lean towards the paler end of the spectrum to reflect light back into the home. And if you can imagine or Google Scandinavian homes, you'll see that they almost always have white window frames on the outside, regardless of the colour of the house, the colour that the house is painted. And the window frames will be white on the inside as well. And that's because we have so little light in the winter, maybe 6 hours if we're lucky, if we live in the south, that we need to have as much light reflected in as possible, and the white window frames do that. Simplicity is also key in Scandinavian decor. Clutter is not something that you normally see in Scandinavian homes. They're usually a calm space with a less is more philosophy. And that's even in the more traditional and rustic homes. And it's the same with us here in my home. We have a 100-year-old house, and so very modern, ultra-modern decor doesn't quite fit. So it doesn't look like something straight out of an IKEA catalogue. We have an awful lot of more traditional stuff and a lot of painted furniture and some very old pieces that are family heirlooms that have been passed down, or things that we found and fallen in love with. But regardless, there is still no clutter. things are as clutter-free as possible. And that goes for most Scandinavian homes and for cabins as well, for hytta. They tend to be less cluttered too. My next one, which is number 6, I think, bake a cake. And it might surprise you to learn that Scandinavians love cakes, really love cakes. It surprised me when I first came here. Really? And you always think of Scandinavian food as being ultra healthy, and it is on the whole, but Scandinavians do love to treat themselves. And we normally think of this kind of healthy seasonal food, don't we? But I promise you that cakes feature very strongly in any Scandinavian home, and especially when people want to give themselves a treat at the end of the week. And no party or event is complete without a cake table. And that cake table will not be something that only has 2 or 3 cakes on. It'll have 10. In fact, there are times when we've had so many that we don't know what to do with them if we have a family party. And it's great because everybody gets a chance to have a little taste of somebody's speciality, the cake that they're famous for in their family. And eating a slice of cake is a treat that we can happily give ourselves, especially if we're being very Scandinavian and we're getting some friluftsliv, outdoor living, at some point, probably over the weekend. Guilt has no place here, and it has no place when you're having a slice of cake. Just enjoy it. Number 7, watch a Nordic noir series. You probably already have, actually, if you've watched something like The Bridge. I'm trying to think of some others as well. But it might not seem a very cosy thing to watch Nordic noir, but it is so unbelievably popular in Scandinavia, of course. It's especially popular at Easter in Norway. How strange is that? What a funny combination. But Easter is the time when a lot of the Nordic noir series are released, or the next season is released, and a lot of detective books are released, and certainly a lot of things like thrillers. It is massive, and it seems to be only at Easter. They go on throughout the year, of course. You know, they're accessible on things like HBO and Netflix. But Easter is the time when everybody goes crazy for them. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that many people take their first trip to their cabin at Easter over the Easter holidays, and they want to take something with them to do. Cabins often have no electricity or limited electricity, possibly no running water, and they're generally quite remote. You know, you have to make an effort to get there. And while you're there, you want to get away from everything. And so you'll take some books with you. And what better thing to take with you than something that requires a bit of thinking, like a detective novel? Hence, this craziness for this Påskakrim, Easter Crime Festival. But it also, Nordic Noir, gives us a bit of Scandi escapism, doesn't it? And a chance to be the detective at any time of year. We don't have to wait till Easter. And of course, there are the wonderful views of Scandinavia too. Our favourites at the moment are Wisting, because it's filmed near us in Larvik, and The Bridge. I love that. It takes a bit of time and effort to get into that and some thinking about it, but it is brilliant. Fantastic. If you haven't seen it, you really should. So can you see that even the everyday can feel Scandinavian if we choose to make it that way? I'm sure that there are some things that you already do here, or some things that you can bring into your life to bring a little bit of Scandinavia into your home right now. Today you can do some of these. And just remember that if you're lighting a candle or you're bringing some flowers inside, you're doing what so many people in Scandinavia are doing right now. So I hope that's given you some inspiration to get Scandinavia into your home. And I will see you in the next episode. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the Living a Nordic Life newsletters so you can get an email when I release a new episode. It's a quick and easy way to keep up with all things Nordic living. Please visit livinganordiclife.com. You can listen to Living a Nordic Life on lots of podcast apps, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and plenty of others. If you've enjoyed the Living a Nordic Life podcast, why not leave me a rating? So that's the end of Living a Nordic Life for today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.